And reporting from southern Israel, where the skyline is lit with rocket launchers, missiles, and clearly where the real conflict is taking place, our reporting team is there. Gaurav Sawant and Ashutosh Mishra, who've been there for days, now reporting constantly on the ongoing conflict. Gaurav, first, I'll come to you, and both of you, please stay safe and exercise caution too. Gaurav, we are being told that a front to Lebanon also has been opened on the border. They're looking at borders of different areas. What are you picking up? What are you witnessing around you?
The situation does remain extremely grim. Over 1,000 targets taken out. That's the effort of the Israeli forces. 1,000 targets in the Gaza Strip are being targeted all along by the Israeli forces. But that's only one part of the story. The second part is the massive troop movement that's taking place, especially closer to the Gaza Strip. It's the tanks, it's the armored personal carriers, and it's troop concentrations in a very big way. So the flattening of the targets overnight, the targeting of sensitive locations of Hamas, whether it's their ammunition depots or their command and control headquarters or their logistics bases, the Israeli forces are moving in a big way sooner than later, and their entire aim is to decimate the Hamas capability and capacity to target Israel once again. Now, how soon will troops move in remains to be seen, but the preparations are all in place.
It's Gaurav telling us about the situation on the border. Gaurav, I request you to please stay on. And both of you stay with us only as long as possible and is safe for both of you. Ashutosh, we're also looking at a humanitarian crisis that's unfolding, isn't it? What are you looking at around you specifically as a counter-strike in Palestine is taking place? And there also, apart from the terror hideouts, clearly collateral damage and civilian casualties are also being reported.
Well, that's always, the crisis side of the war. Whenever two countries fight or two group fight, there is always some innocent people who are always caught in the crossfire. In case of, the battle between Hamas and Israel, indeed, these civilians and perhaps innocent civilians, both the sides have been worst affected. People have been killed, abducted by the Hamas terror organization from the Israeli territory, and subsequently when the Israel is now retaliating, responding to all the threats, because remember there are multiple rockets almost every day in the southern part are being fired. Now even there is another front has opened for Israel from the northern side. So when a country responds in its defense, there is always possibility of innocent civilians. So indeed the bodies we are seeing both the sides moving in a huge number. Subsequently most of the the establishment, commercial places, all are shut down. The people require essential supplies that had to be maintained, and while the daily life have been totally disrupted, literally life is coming to the halt, particularly in the extremely northern zone where the another threat of Hezbollah is looming. Subsequently in the southern part where Hamas has escalated, and even after the retaliation from Israel, the rocket firing that is continue from the terror organizations from Hamas towards the Israel.
Gaurav, if I can bring you in right now, the Western world is supporting Israel and the Arab world largely is supporting Palestine. In fact, even Hamas extremists who are getting, with speculation rife, military and shelter support both from Qatar and Iran. Could we look at a bigger escalation, a regional conflict here on?
We're already seeing signs of escalation, whether it's on the border where the Hamas forces are being taken on by the Israeli forces, or the Hezbollah along the Syrian border and the Lebanon border. They were targeting, the Hezbollah targeted a radar station of the Israeli forces, they claim, and that's disputed territory once again. Some rockets fell in the Sheba Farms area, again a disputed territory. At the same time, Israel is of the opinion that whether it's the Golan Heights or the Sheba Farms area, the borders with Syria and Lebanon will see heightened activity, and more than just exchange of military hardware. There was some movement that was seen. Some Hezbollah fighters have been targeted, some neutralized, some were injured. But in the days and weeks ahead, Israel is gearing up for a conflict on multiple fronts, and that's why the aim is to weaken the Hamas leadership to wage war. The fact that Hamas is still in a position to carry out rocket attacks into the southern part of Israel or even targeted some places closer to either Jerusalem or Tel Aviv is an indication that they still have the military hardware, they still have the capabilities, and that is where Israel is likely to intensify its operations along multiple fronts. And the largest troop mobilization, 3 lakh troops being mobilized, armored personal carriers, tanks, heavy artillery moving into the border areas are all indications that the moment the situation is sorted out on the southern flank of Israel, the offensive operations will begin. The United States is also deploying its aircraft carrier battle group in the Mediterranean Sea, and that's an indication that America is standing with Israel to ensure that others don't come into play, other forces don't come into play, and this is where deft diplomacy, military diplomacy, and all operations on ground will simultaneously be under global scrutiny.
And eventually the hope is that it should not escalate and there should be peace in that region, in the Middle East. I want to take the final question to you, Ashutosh, because let's talk about Palestine now. European Union has suspended aid and also Israel has said that they will be shutting all routes of food, fuel, electricity to Palestine. Israel says they are targeting only Hamas terror hideouts, but we can see civilian casualties too in that area. What is happening with regard to that? What do you hear and see around you? What are you picking up from your information of your sources?
Well, not just European Union, but mostly if you see the United States, Australia, and all these allies, and partners of Israel have extended their support and even supporting the Israel's decision to try to defend when it comes to the retaliating and responding to the terror outfits in the Gaza Strip. And clearly, while it all happens, the Israel the operation that it has launched against the terror organization, it will escalate further. And given to the present scenario that what we are seeing from southern to the northern part, it is likely to escalate further as the information is about more and more infiltration taking place even in the northern side of that. Subsequently, the southern side, those already infiltrated, there is more and more threat on the civilization. Hence, the combing and hunting operation that is also continued. But what it triggers that certain Muslim countries which have also extended their support to Hamas, and moreover, the matter of concern is the way and the ammunition, the arms and the skills that is being used from the Hamas organization. This is literally next to impossible for a terror organization until unless it has some the state support, until unless the support is given by some state, because this is totally like a military tactics and military warfare when it comes to what we're seeing here in Israel. So clearly the escalation is likely to go further in the worst affected areas, both in northern part and southern Israel.
India's #1 political reporter
defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV.